everyone, Matt here, and I'm going to be doing a simple tutorial today on how to transfer images onto wood or linoleum. And it works really well, and I'll tell you all the products that I have, and I'll show them all to you, and I'll show you the process. So originally, I'm going to point you down here at my desk so you can see what I am working on here today. So originally, I was trying to learn how to do Japanese woodblock printing. And I started out here, and you can see I did all the carving, I did everything, and I really foobarred it. I screwed it up, and I had so many little tips and chips and things out of here, and doing this taught me a lot on what to do and what not to do. So I'm going back to the drawing board, I'm flipping this over, and I'm going to do this. Now this is hard maple, so I got this at just at your Home Depot, and then I glued these two panels together right here. Then I have this area sawed off a little bit. I'm just making sure I have the right sides. So I sawed this off, made it very straight using all my tools, woodworking tools to do that. And let's point that down better. So I'm going to show you how I get my image onto here. So first off, I do all my artwork and I draw it out. And then I take it and I scan it into my computer. After I scan it, I do my little adjustments, brighten up things, darken things, that kind of thing. Maybe do some little bit of cleanup. I don't really do much of that on there because I don't see a point to it for cleanup, just like maybe something that got on the glass or something I don't want to do. And then I print that image out. And I print it out right here on a laser printer. You gotta use a laser printer to do this. It's necessity for this. You can't use an inkjet printer or any other kind of printer. You need to use a printer, not a laser jet. But a laser printer or a copy machine like a Xerox will work too. But it has to be a toner-based printer. So I took everything out, and this is going to be an 8x10. And my border here, I'm not so worried about this line. That is unimportant. So I'm going to take this, and in the Japanese style here, normally you would just put the paper down on there, and then you make your registration marks here, and you do carving and all that kind of thing. So I'll show that things to you guys later, but right now I'm concerned about the image itself, getting it there. So once I print it out, you don't need to do anything special to it. You don't need to flip it, you don't need to reverse it or anything like that. Just print it out straight, how you want it. Like this is what my finished product will look like when it's printed right here. So basically I print it out like this, and then I flip it over. Doing so now has made it flipped. So if you do anything with text, so you want your text to be normal, and then when you print this out, and you're going to flip it over, it's going to go backwards. So you don't have to do a lot of guessing on this. And then I put it on here. And I'm going to tape it down. I'm just going to use blue painter's tape. Right here. And I want to avoid putting tape towards the center of the image or anything that needs to be transferred, because the tape will stop the transfer process. So I got that side done, and that side done. Do I want to bother with that? I'm going to leave folding this over to make it tab. So that way I can just put it on here, and I can peel this one off really easily, because I want to do that so I can double check as I'm doing this. But it's not complete necessity. I should not have done that. Let me stay away from it. So after I do that, the next tools that you're going to need is you're going to need a bone folder like this, or even a bone scorer. Either one will work. I like the folder better. It works better in my opinion. Mine is well used. You can see it's starting to bow from force and pressure that I use with it so much. And the Chart Pack colorless blender from the AD marker line. Now this stuff, you kind of want to use it in a well ventilated place. It smells. Ugh. This is a marker that will get you high. They've got xylene in them, which is one of the reasons it's so nasty. But because of its nastiness is what allows it to do this. I mean, you could probably do this with regular xylene if you're real careful, but I find that this is a much easier way of doing it. And I'm going to point it this way so you guys can see what I'm doing. And basically, I just take it and go like this. And you don't want to do a whole lot of this. You do not need to. You don't want to over wet it. You don't want to use too much of this, because if you do, it can actually cause more problems down the line. And then I just rub my bone folder over the entire image like this. And I work in sections. I don't do large areas because xylene is very volatile. That's the word I want to use, volatile. And it evaporates very quickly. And because it does it so quickly, you want to work in small areas. Like this. And as you're doing this, you can kind of see a slight tone change in the paper as you do these rubbings. Like this. That might be too much. Because if you use too much of this sometimes, what can happen is you can smear the image very easily. And you don't want to do that. I mean, it's also just a reference for carving, so it's not like you need a 100% perfect, image. Even with this being a little dry here, it will still transfer. And my marker is starting to die. I can see that too. I've used this thing quite a bit. They last probably for anywhere from 10 to 20 prints, which is actually not that bad. They're about $5 to $6 a piece. I get mine online at Blick because I couldn't find any place that has them. And then lo and behold, the Arts and Craftsman, that is only like 10 blocks away, now has them somewhat floating around in their printmaking section. So this marker, like I said, it's been, let's move it up closer here so you can actually see it. AD Chart Pack right here. And that's basically about it. And as you can see, the image has kind of come through the paper here. And that's, sorry about that, everyone. I had to go and get another tool here that I was supposed to get because I am trying to do this in somewhat of a typical Japanese fashion. This little trick I showed you is not Japanese. This is something that I do. So that's, yeah, it's not Japanese. But the registration thing is what's important to this. And you need to know how to do it properly. So now that I've got my paper marked down, this is an 8x10 piece of paper. I just printed it out on 9.5/11 and then trimmed it down. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to, I don't know if you can see it very well here, but you can see the edge of the paper under the blue tape. So what I'm going to do here is you just go like this right at the edge of the paper. And this is just a normal chisel. I just got a little mallet. And I'm just going to pound down into there. So I'm actually going to take this off and measure up this perfectly. Did not do what I wanted it to. That did not go straight at all. Why did you? Oh, because the board is uneven. Darn it. Alright, so I'm going to cheat this time. Just use a little ruler here. And draw this on. Normally the Japanese version you would, you take a chisel to mark the wood itself. I'm just not going to do that because I'm screwing it up and I don't know why. And see, this didn't even go in the right spot either. But basically, those will become later when I show you how I start carving and everything. And as you can see areas where it didn't transfer that well right here. So either you can go back in and retransfer some of this stuff. And that might be because you didn't have enough of the blender, bleeding into the paper. It could be anything, really. And you can see right here, it bled through. And I think I did this one a little too fast, which is one of my problems. And you should never do that. Don't leave the cap off these things as you're working on them. A, because it does dry out so quickly and you're losing use of it. And B, like I said, it's a volatile chemical and it evaporates very quickly, which means you breathe in a lot of those nasty fumes, which you don't want to do. If you really want to be safe with this thing, I'd recommend wearing a respirator mask, but you really don't need to do that. I'm going to do this just so I know what I'm getting into. Okay, that's not too bad there. But I'm still I'm gonna touch it up just a little bit here, guys. Much better. Oh, I can see right there. There we go. Transfer. Overall, this looks good, doesn't it? So now, I could begin my carving now, if I really wanted to. And I probably will, but not right this moment. I will show you guys more of the carving later, at a later time in another video. But this was my transfer process using a laser printer, a colorless blender, and a bone folder. It's really basic, really easy, and it's not that difficult to do, as you can see. You get pretty good crisp lines. Everything works out really well. And I don't know if you can tell here, but like I said, I did all this, and you notice a lot of this is a little different than what was over here. I cleaned up a lot of this and redrew a lot of it in Illustrator and fixed it up that way too, because I was just really unhappy with the drawing aspect of this, and it did not turn out well. But I've learned a lot from all my mistakes. I'm a firm believer in learning from your mistakes, and I think that that's better to learn. I think it's better to make mistakes than to always be successful, because by making mistakes, you learn. And I learned a lot through this process. I learned what not to do. And now you guys can too, or at least learn how to do something. So like this one right here, you know, you're going to learn how to do this with me. And, you know, it's a journey we'll all take it together, I suppose. That's probably the case. But either way, I wanted to show you guys this process, how I do it, how it works. Thank you for watching, and next time we'll do some carving.